A big hootie hoo. So happy to have everybody out. A lot going on in Altown, and we're going to be talking about it right now with me and my regular co-host, Mr. Robert Kenny. Y'all give Robert a big round of applause. You know, when I say give Robert a big round of applause, not even Adam claps. There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Adam loves
Your son.
my son Adam.
My son. He don't even clap for his dad.
Hey.
That's crazy.
Quit picking on him, Pop.
Here, I'm going to snort again. Let's not do that. All right, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in our world this week. We're happy to have everybody out. If you ever want to talk about the Owls, we'd love to hear from you. You can call us or text at 470-9-GO-OWLS. That's 470-9-GO-OWLS. All right. What happened at KSU this week? There's a lot going on. We had women basketball trip down to South Florida. It didn't turn out too well. We lost 59-67 at FAU, and then went further on down to Miami and lost 63-72 at FIU. So the FIU trail did not work out very well for the girls.
I hate all these teams from Florida that go by initials. I can't keep all those.
UCF, USF, that's all that's in Florida, other than Florida, Miami, and
Back when I was
Gators.
young, there was only 3 teams in that state.
Florida, Miami, and FSU.
That was it.
That was it, yeah.
Now everybody
There's
plays
quite
there.
a few now, yeah. But the boys, on the other hand, had a very good week.
They did. They had a trip down to Mercer that I think we're going to hear a little bit about later.
Yep.
Picked up the first win in 12 years.
Yeah,
Down
Will
there.
the Thrill Monroe will be on telling us, Renfro will be on telling us a little bit about that trip. They did win 66-63. As Robert said, the first time in 12 years they've beaten Mercer, so that was pretty cool.
And then they followed that up with another win against Charleston Southern.
Charleston Southern, 76-65. So I don't know if you know it or not, but if you look at the top net basketball teams in NCAA for the state of Georgia, who would you think would be number one, Robert?
It's probably not Georgia or Georgia Tech.
It's not Georgia. It's not Georgia Tech. It's not
Columbus State.
Columbus State. It's not Georgia State.
Southwest
It's not Mercer.
Georgia Agricultural.
It's not SWAC.
Schwack.
No, it is the Kennesaw Owls. They are the number one team in the state of Georgia in the rankings.
That's beautiful.
That is beautiful. Many, many more weeks like that to come at much higher places as the Owls continue to grow. Everybody say hey to Missy as she goes to the restroom. Hey, Missy. So we're happy for the Owls. Some good things going on in the basketball team. Basketball team's a very, very talented team, and we'll talk about where they're going next week here in a little bit. But, Robert, you got anything else you want to add?
We didn't talk last week. I had it last week. I don't think we talked about it. Jasmine Brown and Carolyn Cole were both named Academic All-District for the volleyball team. And, it's not an easy thing with, COVID and 2022 and maintaining. You got to have a 3.5 or higher, so it's pretty impressive.
That is pretty impressive. And we also had 3 guys that we didn't talk about last week that made the all-conference, all-sun team. So that's pretty cool. In football, we have Connor Cummings, who is the special teams player of the year. The 4th time that's happened at KSU. Connor was our place kicker. He kicked 25 for 25. I'm not very good at math, but I know that's 100% for PATs.
McEachern, baby.
He didn't miss a one. And he hit 71.4% of his field goals. So that's not bad either. So congratulations to Connor Cummings for being the player of the year for special teams in the ASUN. Also, we had DeMontre Morris, his 2nd time made all-defense ASUN. And thirdly, we had Gabriel Binyard, who was a special team first-timer as a return specialist. So much kudos to those guys.
Absolutely, absolutely.
As we continue to grow at KSU, the awards will keep coming and get more and more and more and less frequent as we grow.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's going to be more awards, and they're going to happen on a more riddle basis.
Yes, and so we're going to be heading into the holidays here with some good things going on with the Owls, and we'll talk about where we're going next week. But right now, Robert, we're in a very unusual situation. We've never had a guest that was on 3 Guys Who Love Sports who is also going to be our guest on the Owl Show.
Except for ATI.
Yeah, but ATI is like a permanent fixture.
Well, hey, I just want to make sure, we point out.
We'll never forget ATI. But welcome back, Simon Block,
Hey.
from
Thank you.
the Owls Who Love Sports, and the 3 Guys Who Love Sports earlier. So we now have another 2-timer ATI, and now we have Simon. Simon,
And
welcome.
And tell the visiting world, Simon, why are you on this show as well?
I'm actually a Kennesaw State graduate myself. I
Beautiful.
graduated from the Coles College of Business.
Michael Coles.
Yes.
How many years ago?
8-ish? I
Eight-ish.
can't remember. It gets
Okay.
blurry after
Hey,
a few years.
I
as you guys
understand. That's what
probably know.
happens in the real world.
Yeah. The year before we got the football team was when I graduated.
That would have been 14.
obviously.
That would have been 14, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like 50
Dead on
years
with
ago.
8 years. Dead
Yeah.
on with 8 years.
But big Owls fan. Love going to the games.
Now, how many football games have you been to?
Probably 4 or so
Yeah.
so far.
Yeah.
How about other sports?
Oh, in general, football games?
No,
No, just,
KSU stuff.
Oh, I've never been to other Kennesaw State sports.
Just the football.
Unfortunately.
We need to get you acclimated into the KSU Owl world.
I am a huge fan of Kennesaw State's cafeteria, though. I was telling AIT over here.
Or ATI.
ATI, excuse me.
Adam intern D.
Adam intern D. That it's the best cafeteria in the Southeast.
Yeah, the best cafeteria at Georgia Southern was my apartment because it wasn't much on campus there. So tell us, where did you go to high school, son?
I went to St. Francis High School out in Alpharetta.
Oh, okay. So what made you choose KSU?
Well, I actually started at Georgia College and State in Milledgeville,
Milledgeville, yeah.
but it was way too
A
far
lot of
away.
crazy people down there. I hear.
Yeah, a lot of crazy people. Too many crazy people. It was way too far away from Atlanta, from all the sports and things that I enjoyed doing. So I ended up transferring to Kennesaw State, which was the best school that I would, if I had gone back, I would have chosen it originally, obviously.
Just because I go off on tangents, and Chuck will bring this back in here in a second. How long were you in Milledgeville?
Like 2.5 years.
So that's a pretty long time. So did you meet anybody who was talking about, because that's where everybody who was crazy a long time ago, that's where they used to send you in the state of Georgia, because
Yep.
nobody lived in Milledgeville.
We
So-
drove past the insane asylum.
Correct.
I went to school in Milledgeville when Ben Roethlisberger did his thing in
Oh, yeah,
Milledgeville
yeah,
as
man.
well.
Oh, Big Ben, yeah.
Ben's done his thing just about everywhere.
Yeah, so I got some phone calls that night. They're, you won't believe who's in town. Who? I'm like, who? Like Big Ben. I'm like, why in the world is he?
How many
in
charges does he have
Milledgeville?
pending?
Yeah, but
But lots of crazy people.
So,
yeah, lots of crazy people. A lot of we called the locals mocals, and they were an interesting breed to say the least.
So, of your 2.5 years down there, how much did you spend in the insane asylum?
About 2.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Was that visiting Larry?
Yes, a lot of
Visiting
it's,
Larry, the engineer,
we were
our engineer on the show.
roommates at the insane asylum together. Thankfully.
Very nice.
Yep.
Very nice. So you've been to a couple of ball games. You said you went to. I think you said you went to the Wofford game earlier.
Yeah, so I was at the Wofford game earlier this year, which was a great game. The offense looked spectacular.
Yeah.
The defense, didn't come out as much as they had been in the past. The past years, the defense was really spectacular.
Sure.
Leading us obviously to the playoffs, a few years in a row. But the offense still looked very good. And the hope is that obviously we'll get some of those players back next year to have get back to the playoffs potentially.
So
Possibly a little more of a natural RPO spread formation.
Yeah,
coming?
I don't hate the triple option. We have a triple option fanatic over here, probably.
Oh no,
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 no! I hated CPJ.
Georgia Tech Southern guy,
yeah,
not a fan.
not a
No.
fan. It's not. It's one of those offensive schemes where you can really wear down the defense
Absolutely.
and really just dominate them, which is enjoyable to watch when you can dominate them. But when you're not, it's a terrible offense.
Well, I've always felt that the option was a offense you could run, and it was great when they had no time to prepare for it.
Yep.
But if you play first game of the year when they've got 6 months to prepare for you, or
Or the
take
bowl
a couple
game.
of weeks off or a bowl game, you're toast
Yeah.
because they're going to prepare for it and they can cover it.
Yeah.
That's what I've learned. That's what I learned from the Georgia Southern and from the Georgia Tech experience. So I'm happy to see it gone. We're not going to be going fully away from up under center because on 3rd and 1, like TCU should have done the other day, take the damn ball and run it up the middle for a touchdown.
Be nice.
That's what we would like to do. And I think Coach Bo said in his presser last week that we would continue to do that.
Correct. And he did say exactly that. That if it's 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1, we won't be in shotgun. And Lord knows how many times did you see that this weekend in pro and college? Way too many.
Yeah, it's funny. He said I know it's a lot easier to pick up 1 yard than 6 because basically when you're in the shotgun, you're 6 yards off the ball.
But you saw it all weekend long, so at least our coach knows more than all those guys.
Yes, he does, and that's why we're moving. And we talked about it a little bit last week. He's going to take all the best parts of the RPO offense that he's seen from around the country and make it our own and make KSU something different. So I'm very excited about that. Now, we're probably in the Sun Belt when you were here.
At Kennesaw State.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh no, you
Yeah.
graduated a year before. But ASUN, how do you feel about us moving up? Because everybody's all over the board about this. I've heard it's not good for us. It's great for us, and a lot of people in the middle.
It's a lot of fun being a good team and making the playoffs and things like that consistently, and that's very enjoyable. Is Kennesaw State going to be able to do that when they get up to the upper level? The state of Georgia produces a ton of talent. The Southeast produces a ton of talent. Kennesaw State's the second largest school in the state of Georgia as well, and only growing. So there's no reason to think that Kennesaw State shouldn't be able to pull in recruits like a Georgia State can.
Absolutely.
So with the higher profile conferences brings more money, it brings more fans into the game, and the state of Georgia is prime for, Tech's not picking up the slack right now, so someone needs to be picking up the slack a little bit, and Kennesaw State is primed to do that.
Well, and let me cut Chuck off before he starts whining about Tech.
I wasn't
Yeah.
going to say a thing.
No, at the end of the day, you're absolutely right. There's no reason that obviously there's one really large team in this state that's doing extremely well. Outside of that team, there's no reason why KSU shouldn't have second or third helping of whatever they want in this state. And there is tons of talent.
So much talent.
And I think because they're moving from ASUN to Conference USA, that's going to be a big boost. I think they're going to, a lot of people, and we talked about this on the show last week, Simon, you didn't hear it, but when you're playing, there's contracts with Conference USA to play on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursday nights. And when you're the game on Wednesday night, you know how much this country loves football.
Yep.
Somebody's going to be watching it that's never heard of Kennesaw State before.
Yep. They call those the sicko games, the Conference USA games.
That would be me.
My
Yes.
friend, my good friend, loves watching those games. He always said, "Are you watching blah blah blah?" I catch some of them. But yeah, you're right. Kennesaw State's going to be right there, prime television. Not going to be on ESPN Plus. With the
Well, that's exactly where I was going to go. You're talking about somebody in Spokane's going to be able to watch the game, let alone the people in Kennesaw.
Yep.
You're not going to have to go here, go there. You're just going to be able to pop your TV, and I think the program is just going to, it can go nowhere but up from there once it's in people's living rooms.
They definitely picked Kennesaw State for a reason because of the state that it's inside of. It's really close to Atlanta as well.
Atlanta
Major
Metropolitan.
market.
Yep. And, how many kids are you going to get from the city of Atlanta that aren't making it to Georgia, aren't making it to Tech right now, but don't want to go to state for whatever reason? It's a great environment up here. I went to school here, as I mentioned, for a number of years, and it's fun. They have a lot of great stuff that comes in Kennesaw's area, and Akron for that matter.
And we've heard athlete after athlete after athlete come on the show and tell us,
Yep.
it's a great place to be. You're 20 minutes from Truist Park to the Battery.
Which is fun. I was sitting in class one day, and I got a text from my friend. He's like, "Hey, do you want some tickets to the Hawks game?" I got back to my dorm room, and got down to State Farm in 40 minutes.
Oh.
You're
Well,
not
you can't beat it.
you're not doing that out of Milledgeville, which is one of the reasons I left Milledgeville.
Now, Milledgeville, you have to show a pass just to get out of the city limits. I
Yeah.
believe.
Absolutely. So tell us, what's your go-to breakfast?
Oh, I love bagels. My favorite bagel place is Goldberg's Bagels.
Down in the Battery.
Yeah, they have one in the Battery. They have one in Dunwoody. They also have one out in the Buckhead area.
There's one on North Druid Hills Road,
Yep.
too.
They have a great Asiago cheese bagel.
Don't mess with Chuck and his
Cream
bagels. He's
cheese,
giving you
and then
addresses
the
in places
salmon
he
as
doesn't
well.
even go.
Spectacular.
Yeah, my son frequents that place, so that's how I knew about it.
And I like that place, but I made a real I might have made a scene one time that I went.
So you're not invited back?
Luckily, there's enough people who go to the Battery that hopefully I'm not sticking out like a sore thumb.
Did you
But
spend some time at the asylum with Larry and Simon?
Did you know that if you go to Goldberg's on a baseball night, that they don't serve eggs?
Really? I did
And I'm
not
like,
know that.
it's a breakfast sandwich. I mean, it's a breakfast. You have to be able to give me eggs. I'm here for eggs. And they're like, we just don't do it on game nights because of how quick. I'm like, but and so then they made me some eggs.
No, why did they do it?
I have no idea. I've only been the one time, and like I said, I made a scene because
They don't
I'm an
make
egg man.
eggs.
Because it takes a little, I guess it's what they're able to pre-prepare for as opposed to
The people that want to cook and go or eat and go,
something like
you
that.
take it with them.
You can't pre-prep an egg. That's
No,
definitely
no,
bad.
and I'm sure they decided that but to a guy who loves eggs as much as me, I was a little heartbroken.
I would have laid an egg, but that wouldn't have worked well for me. So
you don't go to Goldberg's for the eggs. You go there for the bagels.
or the bagels, yeah. I bought a bag of bagels this morning, BOGO at Publix, so blueberry. But I don't know if that's my go-to breakfast, but that's it for you, right?
I love bagels.
Yeah,
Hey, did you know something about BOGOs at Publix?
I know a lot about BOGOs at Publix.
And most people don't know this. It's buy one, get one free, but if you only want to buy one, it's at half price.
It is at half price.
That
you
is
don't-
only in the state of Georgia. If you go to Florida, it's not that way.
But if you hey, I don't want 57 of these. I just want hey, just buy one box.
Buy one, get one. That's the way it goes. There are some things I get two of, but most of the time I only get one, like a box of cereal. I don't
bought-
need 2 boxes of cereal.
I bought 2 things there today that were buy one get one, and I only bought one of each.
We'll have to talk about what you bought at Publix after the show.
Just
That's
for the
pretty
record,
cool.
it was Thomas English muffins and Dr Pepper.
That's
Thank
what
you.
I got.
Thank God.
Not the Dr. Pepper, but the English muffins.
Oh, I love me some
Yeah,
Thomas.
blueberry I got. So I don't think mine were. I think mine were Linders. They weren't Thomas. Yeah. Sorry, frozen bagel or cold bagel. All right, back to football. Other than football, what's your favorite sport?
Oh, yeah, I love all of them. It kind of rotates based off of who's doing best at that time. I'm a Hawks season ticket holder. My family's a Falcons season ticket holder. The Falcons games are almost a punishment to go to these days. Last week, I'm not sure if you guys watched it, but it was like 90% Steelers fans for the people who did show up.
Oh yeah, always is.
Yeah, which thankfully they were terrible, so they didn't have much to cheer for until obviously the last play of the game.
But you got to see those towels the whole
Yeah,
time.
lots of towels, lots of snot rags waving around out there.
Wow, the
and
terrible towel.
Hey, I know we're not supposed to talk about this, but I just got to hit you because we did talk Hawks a little bit on the first show.
Yeah,
Did you see the announcer and his
Yeah.
and his stroke?
yeah.
They were doing a pre-game for the Atlanta Hawks 3 days ago, and what's the guy's name?
Steve Holman.
Steve Holman is sitting next to Dominique, and he gives his little spiel and turns it over to Neek. And while Neek starts talking, he literally
Holman had a seizure and a stroke.
They
started
said it was-
convulsing on camera, and they had to finally go away. And my buddy was like, "But how about Neek? What a professional!" I was like, "Yeah, he's a professional, but I don't want him next to me when I'm having trouble because Neek just kept talking."
I think Holman's croaked. I don't know what's
yeah,
going
it
on.
was
That's
pretty
funny.
crazy, but that's a different story.
So, we just mentioned a few minutes ago that KSU is the #1 basketball team in the state of Georgia now in the college level. So maybe you should need to go to a game at the
Yeah, absolutely.
Convocation Center.
Which is another one of those sports that Kennesaw State should be good at. I mean, the state of Georgia produces so much talent in basketball,
And none of them stay in our state at all.
which is outrageous. If Kennesaw State or Georgia or Tech or any of those schools got
or just KSU.
yeah, okay, just Kennesaw State, right? Just got a small portion of that talent to come to their school. How could they not be good?
Absolutely.
So much talent in the state of Georgia for Kennesaw State to be grabbing onto these days, in both football and basketball, for that matter.
Yeah. So Simon, we'll let you go with this. We talk every week about if you give $500 to the Tech program or to the Bama program, to the Georgia program, doesn't mean anything.
Yes.
You give $500 to KSU, it means a lot.
Yep.
I mean, you become part of the family. So all of you out there that aren't season ticket holders, if you haven't considered go watching this very talented basketball team that's playing right now,
Go to a game.
go to a game. Come sit with me at a game. I would love to see you there. And let's cheer some hoops together. And we'll talk with Will, the Thrill Renfro, here in a little bit about his experience at basketball games and they went down to the Macon. Him and Garrett Brackett went to the
The Mercer game.
the Mercer game down in Macon last Friday night. We'll hear a little bit about that. But we would invite you back to be on our show anytime, Simon.
Well, thank you guys.
Did a heck of a job, buddy. Enjoyed. Can you believe he's related to Larry?
I'm afraid I'm going to answer this wrong, so I'm just going to smile.
All right. So while you're smiling, why don't you read about one of our fabulous sponsors,
How about, which one do you want to hear from me? Modern Image?
Modern Image.
Modern Image is a locally owned document and photograph scanning company that helps clients secure and use paper files and photos. Whether it's important business files or sentimental family photos and videos, Modern Image is dedicated to helping clients solve problems around paper. Go Dogs.
Indeed.
I know.
And go Dogs.
He'd agree with the Go Owls.
Yeah,
For this
they
show.
would be okay for
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you may recognize this guy on my left, your right, as Adam the intern. Adam,
I saw one of the hottest selfies ever with this guy earlier this week.
you must have seen a different one than me.
What we decided earlier is that we got to give this guy better pictures of us because he didn't know this picture was the only one that, here, I'll just use this one. You can't leave it up to Larry to decide that.
No, Larry had another one. Adam sent me that one.
Larry had a different one?
Larry had a different one of you.
He should have used that one.
No, it wasn't any better.
Aw.
It was both the same thing with kind of like with your eyes closed. So, but that's okay. So we're very happy to have Adam with
Absolutely.
us. He was with us for the whole show last week on Three Guys, and we're always happy to have him. And what you don't know about Adam, and he is a current KSU student. So now we've had a graduate on board, and now we have a current student. So ATI, tell us what is going on over on the campus of KSU.
We got finals this week. I actually have a final tomorrow at 10:30.
Hello,
And,
darkness, my old friend.
I've come to be with you.
The
again.
power has just gone off. Well, all the lights have gone off.
All the lights have gone
But
out
just
at Miller's house.
inside, all the TVs are still on. Oh,
And we're
And
still
the
on.
lights are back.
And God said, let there be light, and there was.
I think somebody just leaned up against the wrong part of the wall.
Probably so.
What were you saying, Adam?
We have finals this week and next week. I have a final at 10:30 tomorrow.
What
so
class?
Writing for public communication.
Nice. So what's that final going to consist of?
I have to
Writing?
write a news article.
Are you turning
Wow.
that in, or do you have to write that there? I mean,
No, I
it's-
have to write it in, and I have to write it there, and then turn it in. And
Is it a fictional article, or do you have to take something that's
No,
currently happening?
it's a fictional article.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
so it could be about a star athlete named, I don't know, Robert Kenny.
No, he said star athlete.
I've been given he'll give us a list of
Oh.
articles
To choose from?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
That's cool. So, go ahead, Robert.
No. I was just seeing if I could write it about me.
Oh,
No, I wish I could. I'll see if I can slip your name in there.
slide your family in there. Oh, that's funny. So, we've talked to you a lot. Tell us what your thoughts are of us moving up to Conference USA.
I love the move up to Conference USA. It'll bring in better recruits. Our football and basketball recruiting is already pretty good. But I think a lot of people like maybe a Jabari Smith, who's from Atlanta, or an Anthony Edwards, who's also from Atlanta, didn't maybe necessarily want to come to KSU, because we're in the A-Sun. It's a lower division of basketball. You're competing against Liberty and SC Upstate, and not huge schools. But I think a move up to Conference USA, will put us in contention for those bigger recruits, not only in football but also in basketball.
And I think you just brought up a very valid point that I had not thought of. A big football recruit knows that, there's 53 people or 85 people on the team. It's going to take a lot more. You get a lot of, guys who go to a weird school. Where do you go? I play at Hofstra. I play here. I play there. So there is a decent chance that KSU could get one of those blue chip people, because basketball players typically don't really care. You draft some people because they went to Duke, but most people we know that's a player, you know.
Yeah.
Wherever John Morant. Oh, you went to Memphis?
Murray State.
Murray
State.
You know, John Morant, you went to Murray State. But I can tell you're the second best person in the country. So,
Yeah.
so you know, we could have some fun with that.
We could have a John Morant type of athlete here.
Please, John Morant, future John Morant.
Yeah.
Come and see us.
Because he was probably a 4-star recruit.
He was a 0-star recruit.
Was he really?
Yes.
Wow.
He played on the same AAU team as Zion.
Williamson.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was a 0-star recruit out of high school. He averaged like maybe 6 points a game his freshman year. And then he had like
And then the game
and
slowed down for him.
over the summer suddenly he became John Morant.
Yeah.
And you never know what can happen with a team. Have you ever heard the story of Dennis Rodman? You know, when Rodman graduated from high school, I think he was 6'1". Well, he grew 8 inches the first year.
Yeah.
Well, you know, those types of things do happen occasionally, and this would be a great place for it to happen.
Yeah, and I think, as we said earlier, there's a great opportunity to grab some of this talent, not only in Georgia, but some other places too. You talk about our golf team. We had Tori Owens on the show a couple of weeks ago, and Tori is the only golfer from the state of Georgia on the women's
coaching
team,
staff.
including the coaching staff. The coaches from Canada, where a lot of the players are from, and they're from Slovenia and all over the world. So this is not just a local college anymore like it was when I went there back in the 70s. It was a community college with 5 buildings, and that was it. Intramural sports, but that was it. We didn't have any competitive sports. So over those many years, KSU's come a long way.
They have come a long way.
Yeah.
Have you ever driven on the campus and gotten lost? Where you're like, there was only 5 buildings when I was here.
I keep trying to find those 5 buildings, and I can't even find them.
Yeah.
I think 4 of them are still standing, though. I don't think they're all still there, but 4 of them are still around. The old student center's an office or something now. But to be honest, I can't remember what the English building and the gym and student center. That's all I remember.
But, you know, it's all changed dramatically. You know, you build this, you tear down that, and, you know, you wouldn't recognize anything. It's an up-and-comer.
Yeah. So, Adam, what year are you in?
I'm a sophomore.
Sophomore.
Yes.
Okay. And any aspirations of graduating early, or are you just going to take your time? And
Now I'm just, so far I'm on track to graduate in 4 years, just like everybody else. So.
Congratulations, Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
So far, he is on schedule.
I thought you were his dad.
I was talking about the other dad.
Oh, okay. All right.
Papa 1,
Papa 1.
2.
and just Pop. Yeah.
And there's Pop. Pop's
Oh, that's
mean.
wild.
Luckily, Pop. No.
So you've been to some football games. You said you've been to a
Yes.
couple.
Yeah.
And who is the announcer that you knew?
Brian Katrick.
Brian Katrick. Yeah. So your best friend's his dad or
Yes.
his son,
My
right?
my best friend is his son.
son.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get him. There's so many sons and dads going on around over here. So you got to experience the press box, which you said was a cool experience.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what inspired you to want to become a broadcaster?
I had so when I was I used to be, I still am a big racing fan. So you get the little die-cast, and I would build a little track, and I would announce the race as
Like the hot tracks, like the Hot Wheels, and
Yeah, kind of. So that's kind of where it started. But yeah, I was in the booth with Brian a couple times. I did 2 full seasons of football home games, and I just loved it. That's where it started. I think my first game was 2019 against Point. We won like 66-0.
Point University.
Yeah.
I can speak from my own limited announcing career. It's really fun when you win 66-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not so much fun when you're on the other side.
No. There's been a few games where, not so fun.
Yeah.
When McEachern or Marietta rolls in.
Yeah, not so much McEachern anymore, but we'll see. Yeah. So aspirations, where do you want to wind up? Do you want to be the next John Gruden?
No, I want to be the next Jim Nance,
Jim Nance?
working for CBS or Fox.
Or with the big
and
ones.
cherry picking every sweet job. Jim, I want to work the Masters, playoff football.
Oh, and the
I'll
Super
do-
Bowl.
I'll do the All-Star game for baseball. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't blame you. That's a pretty good gig if you can get it.
That's a pretty good gig if
And
you
you
get
know, I've heard an interview with him. He actually lives in the Atlanta area and is one of the coolest people.
Yeah.
I mean, listening to him talk, you're like, wow, he is not all about
He,
himself.
he also
Yeah.
has a place at Pebble Beach.
Oh, I'm
yes,
sure.
he does.
Yeah.
Does.
Yeah. But that would be a cool job. But and I say this only out of love for ATI here. I many football games that I watch now, the announcers are horrible,
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, Robert,
heard it.
the three of us could go there and do a better job.
That's-
I really believe
That's
that
not
if we
saying
studied,
much because we
Yeah.
rock. But
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
Yes.
I know,
But I
what
think
you
we
mean.
could study and do a really, really
We
good
could.
job at something
We
like
could.
that.
It's all about how you prepare.
ATI could be the sideline guy.
He could do it all.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it.
You know why? Because he's getting an education at KSU.
Yes.
Exactly. And your major is?
Communications.
Cool.
He speaks very
So,
clearly.
so
I
is,
do.
is there like a broadcasting major?
Not specifically within KSU. They have I'm a media and entertainment major, which is kind of the same thing.
Is that the same thing as communications?
Yes, it's within the communications discipline.
Oh, okay. That's cool. So, we've asked this of many, many guests before, but who's the most famous person in your phone, ATI? And no fair saying Robert.
And don't say Larry.
It's not Larry.
Okay.
I don't know. I like the way he said that. It's not Larry.
I did tee it up for him, so he had to kick that one.
Yeah.
We may have to answer that question ourselves.
I laugh because every time somebody tells me who the most famous, I'm like, God, maybe.
I think
No
Carrick,
offense to any of you who are in my phone.
Carrick might be
gonna-
mine,
I'm gonna. It's between Doug Turnbull, who works for WSB, and Brian Katrick, who calls the Masters
Yeah. Brian calls it on Golf Channel?
for Sirius XM. Yeah.
For Sirius XM Radio, yeah, that's where I've heard it before. Yeah, I got to meet him the other day. I'd met him somewhere before, and Carrick introduced me to him the other day. But that was pretty cool. Yeah, one event you want to announce it every year. What is it?
The NCAA tournament.
Oh,
Hands down. Love
really?
it. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I actually have a cool story about KSU basketball. So back in, it must have been about 2013, 2014.
yeah,
I was playing in a rec league, and there was a KSU basketball game before, and Brian was doing it. So we went to the basketball game, and we met up with Yanel Brown, who was a point guard at KSU, and somebody invited him to come to our middle school game, and he was like, yeah, sure. So he comes to the game, and I think he was like 5'9". He was 5'8", 5'9". So he was about our size, and we were like, it'd be really cool if you warmed up with us and dunked.
Right.
So the other team's watching us warm up, and we just have this 5'8" or 5'9" guy dunking.
go up and slam.
So Yanel Brown warmed up with us. I think we got a ball stuck in between the rim and the backboard, and he jumps up there and he gets it down.
We need a birth certificate on that guy.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like those kids that used to come in from Dominican Republic play baseball. They're 18 and they say they're 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Danny Amante is his name.
Danny Amante.
Danny Amante was the guy who was 16 and a half, who was striking out everybody at the Little
Oh
League
yeah,
World
yeah,
Series.
yeah. I could probably have done that if I was 16 and a half.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I ever told you this, ATI. Did you know I met Dick Vitale?
I did not.
Awesome, baby.
It's funny. I was doing a gig for Diet Mountain Dew at the Final Four in 2001, and we had a full court basketball court set up inside the Mall of America in Minneapolis. And so every morning at 5:45, I had to be at the mall to let the media in. And they said, "Hey Chuck, could you shoot baskets in the background, or could we interview you? Could you do your best, Dick Vitale? Blah blah blah."
Yeah.
And so I got to do that. And the lady came up to me after me. She said, "The station manager called, said you were the best Dick Vitale imitator he's ever seen." So that was pretty cool. We got to go to the Final Four that year, but got autographed books from John Wooden. So that was
Wow.
probably the coolest thing.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things I've ever done. So that was really, really wild. So I could see you doing that. I could see you. He's got that clean, fresh look like
He does.
Jim Nantz, doesn't he? Yeah. So
and he's confident in what he speaks.
yeah, and I think he should hire 2 guys that
Yeah, when he gets
that
that
might
job,
know him. Like we could be his agents.
You could be my stats guys.
There you go.
you're the agent,
And Robert could be the stats guy. How's
Robert
that?
can be the stats
I'll be
guy.
the stats guy, or down on the sideline. You won't be. You're not
Yeah.
my sideline
Yeah.
reporter. I'm your sideline.
Okay, that would work. That would
and,
work.
And Pop, you.
Don't. I'm going to snort again. I don't want to snort. That's funny. Yeah, we make a good team. Like I said last
Yes,
week
we would.
on 3 guys, we had a really good show. What else can we ask?
How many other sporting events have you been to at KSU?
Just football and basketball.
Okay, how many basketball games do you go to? Couple a year? Trying to
Yeah.
go to more?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me say this. You know, we've had people that graduate there and played sports there, and we even talked to Mr. Block about it earlier. And you've been there a year and a half now.
Yes.
A year and so much, sophomore. Why would you think people should come to KSU?
I mean, for me, it's about the fact that it was local. I mean, it's just as good as a UGA or a Georgia Tech
Or better.
or better. I agree. I had the option to go to UGA, and I chose to stay at KSU, because you get the same education. You might get a better education. You meet different people from around the world. We have a bunch of international students, which obviously Georgia Tech has, but Georgia doesn't really have that kind of international population. So you meet a lot of different people from a lot of places, and you gain a lot of perspective.
So it's not just the athletic teams that are going out and getting people from all over the world. The school itself is getting global perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's how you become the second biggest school in the state.
The second biggest school in the state, heading towards number 1. I
Yes.
would imagine in a few years. So, any aspirations of playing any sports at KSU?
I used to play basketball. I played some AAU games, but I hung it up after a while.
Point guard?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was
He looks
point
like
guard
somebody
for my
could do
team.
the U-tip two-step,
Yeah.
little crossover action.
Yeah, here's the way you play point guard. You guard him, and you guard him, and you guard him. That's how you play point guard.
That's the way I play point guard.
All right. HEI, well, we will let you out of here, buddy.
You didn't ask me my favorite breakfast.
Oh,
My go-to breakfast.
what's your
Come
go-to
on.
breakfast?
4 eggs, a bagel, and some bacon.
Four eggs.
So you're
I'm an
way
egg-
beyond
I'm an-
Simon. You're doing not only the bagel, you're doing 4 eggs and
But
what
no.
else did you say?
4 eggs, a bagel, and some bacon.
Bacon, yeah.
I'm an eggaholic. 4 eggs is a lot of freaking eggs.
Nah.
I mean, I'm
No, I
rooting
can
for you.
scramble as many as 6 eggs and eat them.
I can't hit 6, but 4's
Ketchup?
Of course.
Put some ketchup on your eggs?
No.
I put ketchup on my eggs.
No.
A little salt, a little sugar.
The
Ketchup.
fans are starting to piece it all together about Pop Pop.
So I shouldn't talk about the mustard and grape jelly sandwiches that you just ate.
No. No.
Mustard and grape jelly.
Why would you? Why
Not-
would you
not
put
for
mustard-
breakfast,
Sorry,
obviously.
can you bring Pop Pop's secret sauce? There you go.
Mustard and grape jelly sandwich. Why?
Greatest sandwich ever. I gotta tell you.
Why?
That's just the
Mustard
way it
and
was.
grape.
Yeah.
It just hurts. That hurts.
I haven't had one in decades, but when I was a
Mustard
kid,
and
that
grape
was
je-
that was my
oh.
go-to sandwich. Yeah.
Ugh.
All right, go somewhere and throw up. We're gonna get somebody
Okay.
else on here. Thanks,
Okay.
ATI. All right, Robert. Let's talk about Modern Image or Bearcat. Let's do Bearcat since we already did
I'm
Modern
gonna
Image.
try, but the idea of you wolfing down mustard and grape
Mustard and
sandwich,
grape jelly. That's a great sandwich.
That's the nastiest sounding thing I've ever heard of in my life. Of course, I hate mustard.
But you can
It's like-
tolerate grape jelly.
Yeah, a little bit. Jif extra crunchy and some, Concord grape. I'm all about that.
Okay, I'm a smooth guy, not crunchy, but okay.
You're no longer smooth after you told us what you eat. Do you need a delivery right now? As in, go now, please. Bearcat Express has expedited shipping on hand-carried items, car, van, or pickup. Whether it's from Memphis to Atlanta, Dothan to Atlanta, or Augusta to Charlotte, and all points in between. We've got the drivers to get your stuff where it needs to be. Whether your passport's still on the dresser, your 7-iron isn't in your bag, or you have a dog that hates to fly. Bearcat Express, with their live tracking capabilities, is the team to turn to. We are the go-to courier in the Southeast. Check us out at bearcatexpress.com.
Thank you very much for that, Robert. And once again, we want to thank David McDonough and who else? Blair Cross for being our sponsors, not only on our show, but also the Three Guys Who Love Sports show that we do here at Miller's at 5 o'clock. We also thank everybody here at Miller's for being on board.
One day, it's going to be like, I don't know, it could be 2 years, might be 20 years, but those two are going to be sitting down and go, you remember when we were the only sponsors of that famous show? Yes, we do.
Yes,
Thank
we
you
do.
both.
They're going down in the Three Guys Who Love Sports Hall of Fame for
They
sponsors.
are.
Yeah.
They are.
Speaking of Hall of Fame guys, we need to get Will the Thrill Renfro over here and get Will's take on his trip to Macon last week. Hey, Larry, go get Will, will you? Or ATI, if you would. So, Will.
Shouldn't they be able to hear us with this?
You would
speaker?
think he would hear, but not when Carrick running his mouth. Here he comes. Will's got quite a few stories from Macon last week that he was sharing with us prior to the broadcast.
Well, and I was sharing. I had a couple friends show up earlier, Darren and Missy Hall, and I was telling them, when we were young, same conversations we've had. Nobody was a KSU fan.
No.
But these people are beyond KSU fans. They're traveling. They're riding buses in Macon, and not to mention packing grills and suitcases when they fly to Houston. So
some of this story sounds familiar.
I'm telling you.
Most of them are around you.
So
we've Garrett.
So we've had a graduate on today, and we've had a current student, and now we have someone that is neither, but one of the biggest fans there's ever been.
Wait a minute, I am a graduate
Oh, that's right, you are. Yeah.
of Southern Poly.
Yeah, of Southern Poly.
which is now.
Which is now KSU.
Yes.
Yeah, but not a KSU per se graduate as of the time.
Yeah.
But I bet. Did you hear about my sandwich I used to eat? I bet you had one of those
Stop.
before.
No.
Just stop.
This story sounds good because it's aggravating him already.
Mustard and grape jelly.
Okay, you can stop.
I mean, I'm all about whatever a poor kid has to eat. But if there's any poor kids out there who are forced to eat mustard and grape, give me a call and I will get you some better food.
We'll get you to Miller's Ale House for a
Maybe
meal.
we'll make it ketchup. I don't know. Whatever it takes.
All right, Will the Thrill, tell us about your trip to Macon, buddy.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
We had a great time.
Wins work that way, don't they?
Well, yeah, the winning part made it that much better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Garrett and I took out of here about 3 o'clock, so we hit all kinds of traffic.
Oh.
And we got down to Macon and found a little pizza joint. So, hey, let's have some dinner here. Apparently, the pizza joint takes 45 minutes to cook a pizza. We almost missed the start of the game.
What kind of pizza did you get?
I had a calzone, and Garrett had a slice or two.
Did they have to go out and kill the pastrami or whatever it was you had on your
Well,
pizza?
there were only 2 tables worth of people in the restaurant when we got there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it still took them forever. So
There's just one person back there cooking and doing everything, I guess.
I may have been the guy taking our order too. I don't know.
Well, did he speak like this? What do you want? We don't have that.
We don't do a slice.
But
Slicer.
but no, we had a good time. Then we went over to the game. They had the high school games playing at the football stadium. It was packed. The whole campus was packed.
Or some region games or something?
The high school playoffs.
State
Yeah.
playoffs.
And so they had shuttle buses running us over to the basketball arena. And Mercer, the stadium, the arena is not as big as Kennesaw's, but it's very nice. It's a private school. I don't know how much money they have. It's really nice. And then we went on to the game, and we ended up doing a typical Kennesaw game.
Yeah.
All the way up until the last 5 minutes, we were doing great.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, we got to pull this out at the end because we just quit scoring at the last 5 minutes.
So we don't restrict that to just football?
No, that's basketball too.
Unfortunately, it's just people who I cheer for.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So you didn't go to Charleston Southern. You guys just came on home from Mercer, right?
Yeah, we came back right to the game.
Yeah. That's great. So how many KSU fans were there?
It was probably around 20 people.
Did you know any of the others?
We knew one of the others.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a regular at the home games.
Who was that?
I don't know his name.
Wasn't Patrick Vickers, was it?
No. I
Yeah.
know Patrick.
Yeah.
Carrick knows his name and told me his name, but I see him in the hospitality suite a lot. Him and
Okay.
his son. I think he has courtside seats at the home games.
Oh, okay.
But just for the record, Chuck, I asked that question earlier before when we were off air. Will was thinking, there was 3 of us there. It took Garrett actually pointing out, no, there was some fans there, and there was people right behind us. And as Will said, oh, I never turned around.
Well,
I never turned around and looked behind me. I was looking at the game.
Well, there was another thing going on at the arena. They had this dance troupe, and I was distracted. I don't know.
Is this one of the girls you had your selfie made with?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, the dance group was much better looking.
Charlie knows about this, right? So I'm not blasting any bad information.
We don't know, Chuck, but we're going to find out later.
Will find out later, yeah.
Maybe I just blew 25 years of marriage.
No,
that was Chuck who just blew 25 years.
Chuck, did you blew 25?
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. I'm sure Charlie's had enough experience to know that Will is Will. So
Will is Will.
Yeah. That's cool. So what's next on the Will wagon? What's going on?
I don't know. We've got a home game this weekend. The women's team's playing Saturday.
Saturday at 2 o'clock, right?
Yeah, and then we've got I don't think the men play again home until the 17th.
Yeah, they're going to San Diego State, right? They're there Monday night, I think.
I think that's right.
Yeah,
That's a heck of a program.
I told Garrett, let's get on a bus, party bus, and let's head to San Diego.
That's a long trip.
I told him I'd buy the
On a
tickets
bus.
if you guys would take pay the gas.
Okay, that's still a long trip.
I'd like to take a look.
That's a heck of a program.
I'd like to take a look.
Is it,
The Aztecs, San Diego Aztecs?
Yeah, so, Steve Fisher, who was the coach for the Fab Five in Michigan
Oh,
in the
okay.
early
Yeah.
90s.
Yeah.
This guy was his assistant all through the 90s in Michigan, and when Fisher left Michigan and went there, this guy was there. So he's basically been in his back pocket until he retired about 4 or 5 years ago. So
Okay.
a lot of players there. It'd be a big win.
Yeah. They, well, like we talked about earlier, the Mercer win was big. They hadn't beat them in 12 years. Is that right?
10 or 12 years.
Yeah.
At Mercer. So and we play them every year. I think we do a home and home.
Was it home and home?
I think so. But that was a big win, and I mean their team was really good, and they had one player. They had their center that would come in the game. He was like 7'2".
Yeah.
And
Robinson's, he's not quite 7 feet, is he? But he's got a wingspan like 7 feet or something
yeah,
like that.
but that 7'2" guy.
Absolutely.
I think they did an inbound pass to the guy, and he just stood there and put his arm up in the air and caught it.
Right.
Yeah.
But when LaRue came in the game,
2 for LaRue.
LaRue was much more physical.
Yeah.
And that was fun to watch. LaRue was like had a mission.
Put a body on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like when back in the day when Chuck Nevitt went to Sprayberry High School, played in the pros. I mean, he was like 7'4", but he was weighed like 160. He was a stick.
Yeah.
You ever remember him?
No.
Well,
I
he,
was just glad to hear that Chuck reference wasn't you playing.
I was never 7'6", and
back
been a
in
long time since
intramural.
I was 150. But yeah, it was funny. He was just a stick, but I mean, he could block a shot.
It is crazy though when you're watching a basketball game and all of a sudden somebody shows up who's 5 or 6 inches at least bigger than everybody else.
Everybody
It's
else on the court.
Wow, there's a game changer.
Oh, I've experienced that before, but in junior high. But yeah, it's a different animal now. Athlete. I mean, I was 6 feet tall, 5'11", 5'11 and a half in high school, and I was the second tallest guy on my team. Now, if you're 5'11", 6 feet, you're a midget compared to most of these guys that are out there now. Yeah.
We call those little people now.
You're just trying to get me to snort again, aren't you?
No, I'm just making sure any of our little people fans aren't offended by it.
By the
Let me
word
tell you,
midget?
If
Yeah,
you were 5'8" in high school, you were on the wrestling team, not the basketball team.
Exactly.
I know from experience on that one.
So, let's get back to football for just a minute because Will travels all over the place to see all these games and stuff. I think 780 people entered the transfer portal on Monday.
And the numbers going up.
Yeah,
And the numbers going up.
That is crazy.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, it hasn't been that much before.
I heard something about it yesterday. They said this is the most that there's ever been right out of the chute. And, what's kind of interesting, we talked about it last year with Freddie Freeman and Olsen. Well, you want one of these two first basemen, but if you spend too much time looking at this one, then that one's going to get taken up, and then if you don't get this one, you get neither. They're talking about how many kids are in the portal, and if there's no way that they're all going to land somewhere where they can actually
Where they
have
want
a
to
jo-
be,
Well,
too.
not even just where they want to be, just to have a job. There's no guarantee that 400 of those kids are getting picked up by anybody, but that's got to open up opportunities for something like KSU, which is probably not a typical destination. through the
Yeah, it's
portal.
also got to be a different recruiting experience
Ex-
because
exactly.
for years we've had a pattern of recruiting high school players, and you normally go through the high school football coach to get to the player, to meet the family, to meet the parents, and now all of a sudden you've got a guy that's been in college, and you just go to him directly.
You've
bypass
already got
all-
videotape on him.
You've got college videotape
Yeah.
on it, and so you bypass all the normal routes to get to the player, and you just go straight to the player.
If you're us,
So
you
it's
just
gotta
say ATI, instant message this guy and tell him we're interested.
Yeah.
Hit him up on Twitter DM,
Yeah.
and yes.
And
It is
you-
crazy.
And Coach Bo said in his presser last week, and we may have talked about it a little bit last week, when you use the word FBS, it's a different conversation than anything you've had before.
It opens up more doors.
It
Yes,
opens up a
absolutely.
lot more doors. And so I don't know if you heard what we were talking to Adam about or not, but the opportunity for us to get a 4 or 5 star recruit now has increased probably tenfold because we're moving from ASUN to Conference USA.
Yeah, I mean, kids coming out, they look at your future schedule and who you're playing and what you're playing for.
Absolutely.
And now instead of playing for a ASUN title, we're playing for a Conference USA title and a chance to go to a bowl game. So, which is different. The perks of going to a bowl game are totally different than the perks of playing for an FCS championship.
Yeah.
And they're personal because the FCS championship, you get to go to the games. You can potentially win a game to get to the national title. But if you go to a bowl game, you walk away with a TV and a gift card to Best Buy for $1,000 or whatever.
Swag bag.
Swag
The
bag.
swag you get from going to a bowl game is exponentially better than playing
Absolutely.
East Tennessee State.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I've got to say something. I've argued with Robert about this before about the playoffs of more than 4 teams going to 12. And the more I think about it, the more I think I have to agree with Robert. I think as long as they incorporate the bowl games into the playoffs, I think it's a fine thing. Because right now, who's playing in the bowl games other than the 4? And I mean, the guy from Ohio State's not going to play, one of their receivers. But you're dropping out because you want to focus on the combine, or you don't want to play because you're going to get hurt. I mean,
I've been saying it for years, and I'm glad to hear you're finally coming along a little bit with me.
but I'm still eating mustard grape. Yes,
Yeah, that's horrible. But like I've been saying for years, nobody's watching the Liberty Bowl. Nobody's going to the Liberty Bowl. Make the Liberty Bowl the 12 versus 5 matchup for that. Before you get to the next round, make some of these bowl games interesting. The Independence Bowl is now going to host USC versus, all of a sudden, instead of you getting, the dregs of whatever, you could make it interesting. And as you pointed out, KSU is going to be now involved in bowl games.
that tickles me more than anything else.
That'll be exciting. It'll be different. I've always thought, and my opinion is a little bit different, but in FBS, there's no guarantee of a path to a championship, which has
Correct.
always bothered me. I've always thought, like, if Kennesaw comes in, and I know we're not eligible the first year when we're in FBF, but even the second year, if we go undefeated, just if, but if we went undefeated, I don't think we would have enough pull to get in even the top 12.
Correct.
People are going to say, even if we won Conference USA,
Correct.
they're going to go, well, you're
Alabama, the 2 losses.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't and every other NCAA sport, before you play the first game, you know the path to the championship. In basketball,
absolutely
if you win your tournament, you're in. So if in golf and in baseball and every other sport, there's a known path to a championship. And in FBS, it's still not. Even if they went to 12, there's no guarantee or no known.
Correct.
There's always going to be a 13th team.
Always.
They say, hey, I got to be there. But isn't that what makes college football great? The controversy.
But if we went undefeated and didn't get in, yes, I would wear the shirt that said national champion.
Yeah, I would too, just like UCF did a couple of years ago, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
So how many years? Hey, Carrick, I'd like to answer you this question. If Carrick, Carrick, can you hear me?
I don't think they can hear us.
Carrick and Garrett a little bit. So we have a question for you. How many years until KSU plays in a bowl game? They both say 2?
2 years. We got a 5 over here.
We can't. Well, they can't the first year, right? That's what Will said. So we know next year's a transition year, right? And then the next year they can't. They could the first year they're actually in,
Chuck
and not
is
the transition.
transitioning next year.
We're transitioning, so we're trying to.
Chuck is transitioning next year.
No, I'm not. So
That's better than Chuck's jumps.
Thank you.
we're talking about how cool would that be? Conference USA. They probably don't have any ties to bowls like the Power Five do.
I don't know.
We'll have to research that next week. But
No.
I would love to go to a bowl. I've been to a couple of bowl games. I actually, believe it or not, I went to the Peach Bowl when Georgia Tech played Purdue back at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium many years ago. I was at that game. I think that was the first bowl game I've ever to. And I had a client that used to fly me down to Tampa every year and spend the night on his private yacht for New Year's Eve, and we go straight to the Outback Bowl the next day.
I've been to the Outback Bowl.
That's a
couple
really
times.
cool bowl.
That's
Tampa's
nice.
a great city.
Yeah.
I'd love to see KSU go play in Tampa. I would have a blast.
KSU, you've always compared KSU's what's your
To UCF?
Your prediction for their rise. I mean, obviously we're perfect for UCF's schedule.
Yeah.
So we'll probably be playing down there sooner rather than later. I can only imagine they're going to want some.
Well, I wish they'd move Gasparilla to the fall when football is, because Gasparilla is a blast. I don't know if you've ever been to Gasparilla or not. It's like the Mardi
Chuck
Gras.
is banned from Ybor City.
I don't
No,
know
but
if
I've spent a few nights in Ybor City.
I don't know if the Rowdy's Humanitarian Bowl is still in Boise, Idaho, or wherever it was that year.
Wow, that would be cool.
It's a humanitarian bowl, but we're going to say rowdy. It's for
Now, KSU's never played on the blue field, have they, Pat? How cool would that be to go to Boise and play on the blue field? And who is it, Eastern Washington, that has a red field?
Oh, yeah. They're
yeah.
red.
So that would be wild, too, but
I still remember going to work the day after a bowl game or a game being played in Boise, and the guy at work goes, my TV went out last night. I'm like, did you not listen to the
Because the
game? They
field was
bring it
blue?
up because they bring it up like 100 times. Surely you didn't have it turned off. Hitting the side of the TV.
So how long till we could become known as the team with the gold field?
yeah. Carrick, any thoughts on that? Well, Boise State's got the blue field, and Eastern Washington's got the red field. Could we do the gold field?
Gold. You got people who can do it.
Yeah, there you go. So, something else. All these great defensive teams have great nicknames for their defense, and they think we need to come up with something with the Owls, like the Prowlers or something like that.
Well, the baseball team last year, when they did really well, they had a team. They had a name.
Oh, did they?
Well, they were the grimy dirtbags.
The Grimy Dirtbags.
That's what they called themselves. So, yeah, I think our defense need a nickname.
We'll work on that for next year. That would be fun to come up with a nickname.
And I'm just going to go out on a limb that I don't think any of Chuck's puns are going to end up being the correct nickname.
You have got to be kidding me.
Grimy dirtbags. That's something that everybody can get behind.
You don't think I could come up with a Grimy Dirtbag?
No, because you're.
Don't say it. No, don't go there. That's fun. But yeah, maybe before next year we'll have a contest, maybe next summer, to talk about what can we name the Owls defense. Like the Grits Blitz. Grits Blitz was perfect, right?
It was.
For the Falcons.
Well,
That
the name
awesome.
was perfect.
Yeah. The defense, not so much, but the name was
Execution.
We just
perfect.
didn't have a good offense back
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
The
But
defense
the Grits
was pretty
Blitz was
good.
pretty good. That was Lehman Bennett. Was that who he
Yeah.
was a coach then? Yeah, Lehman Bennett. Yeah.
Yep.
That's wild. So a lot of good things going on with the Owls, as we talked about. Conference USA is always a great conversation, a great thing that's going to happen to our school for exposure and credibility, and getting new students and new athletes. And that's what we're all about here on the little Owls Who Live Sports, is getting new athletes and supporting them with money here at KSU. So if you want to support a KSU athlete, you can do so right here at 470-9-GO-OWLS, and let us know. Call us or text us. And as we said before, if you give 500 to Tech or to Alabama or Georgia or any of the Power 5 conferences, it means nothing.
You're not even getting a postcard.
You're not even getting a postcard. But you give 500 to the Owls program, and it means something. You become a part of this family, and you get to hang out with the Owls Club and people like Garrett and Will and Charlie and Jan and Alyssa.
When you call and decide that you want to do it, Larry, who's not a blockhead, is going to take all your information and then your money, and you're going to become famous.
Yeah, and you know what? Not only that, if you sponsor the Owls Who Live Sports show, part of that money will go to sponsor an NIL athlete.
That's
and you
correct.
can do that for a minimal amount if you'll call us and talk to us about it at, again, 470-9-GO-OWLS.
And if there's any former athletes or fans that we have not talked to and you think, hey, I want to be in that third seat, email us about that.
Yeah, because we got one of the best in here tonight. We've had 3 really good guests tonight: Mr. Simon Block, ATI, Adam Crooks, the intern, and of course Will the Thrill Renfro. But we are wrapped up for this week. Been a good week, and until next Wednesday at 7 o'clock here, give me one more big hooty hoo.
Hooty hoo!
And we'll see you guys next Wednesday. Have a great week.
Thanks, guys.